Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are looking at Straight Up by Glam Polish. To go along with Captain Howdy on my other hand, I put on this pink. This is another Black Friday polish. It is a hot pink polish with an orange shimmer and holo glitter in a variety of sizes. Believe it or not, I did not buy these two polishes to wear together. When the polishes arrived, I realized they would probably make good companions, and sure enough, I like them together. I'm going to call it a happy accident. This was one of those polishes that I just kept returning to on the website. At some point it became obvious to me I just needed to buy the polish. It looks like an electric strawberry to me, with disco seeds. Now, I rarely know the references to polish names, but this was part of a collection called Girls Just Want to Have Fun, where I recognized some polishes had song names, and now I'm wondering if this is a polish for Paula Abdul's song. I have no real idea, but that was what flashed into my mind. When I Googled, there were other songs with this title, so I do not feel confident. But she's a girl. Surely she was wanting to have fun. In the meantime, you've been watching me paint on the first coat. This is a much more opaque polish than Captain Howdy, even though I am still painting pretty thin. I think you can see some of the magenta lean of the base color on the stem of the brush, but the shimmer is very strong and very plentiful, so I do think it makes a major contribution to the overall look of the polish. But in the finished product, I really don't think you're going to tell yourself that this is a magenta shade. I think you're going to more so say it's sort of a pinkish red or a strawberry color. And I think you can see how bright it is. The magenta base color works more so as a base from which the amazing shimmer can readily launch. This really is a bright, happy color. The holo glitter in here really aren't that large, but there are a fair number. In my opinion, this is another one that requires a glitter smoother or a second application of top coat. My preference is a glitter smoother. I paint pretty darn thin in that second coat. I see little shadows in the polish, but I'm not sure if that is low spots in the painting or just the holo glitter from the previous layer. This is looking finished in that second coat on camera, but I must have noticed something in person about maybe low spots or places I didn't quite go over well enough, because I do go on to do a third coat. I am going to take this opportunity to talk about my audio. I do my voice recording in a program called Audacity, but I use a background program called RTX Voice to help filter out some of the ambient sounds like my CPU fan. The way I implement this is by changing my input in Audacity to be my microphone plus RTX Voice, and that was working well, but at some point, the input wasn't working anymore. I either couldn't find that option to select, or when I did, it would not produce any sound. And that meant I basically had to put my microphone physically as far away from my computer as I could manage, and then walk back and forth from the microphone to the computer, trying to do takes that are absolutely perfect because there's no filtering of the background sound. So it was long and repetitive and difficult. Needless to say, I hated it. It was awful. But all of a sudden, I have RTX Voice and Audacity working together again. Why? Nobody knows. So now I can sit comfortably close to my computer. I don't waste all that time walking around and having to repeat takes constantly because something blipped or my husband, had the temerity to walk. How dare he? It should not take 7 hours to produce, 8 to 12 minutes of audio. That's insanity. So if I seemed sort of tired in some of those videos at points, I was. I was exhausted. But it should be a much more reasonable time frame now. I'm thinking 2.5, 3 hours to produce a video in terms of the audio. If that still sounds long, yeah, it probably is, but I mean, compared to 7. I live a life of luxury getting to sit down. In the meantime, you have watched me apply that third coat. I did have to fool around with a corner there for a little bit, just because I was trying to reposition a glitter that I didn't want on the edge of my nail. I think if you were just a little bit more generous with your coats, you could get away with 2 with this one. There's also the possibility that on my other fingers, my ridges had required a third coat, and that's why I did it on my thumb as well. But I honestly don't remember because this was about 3 weeks ago, and I have a goldfish brain, and that information is now gone. This isn't the type of polish I would want to wear without it feeling opaque. I just think this is one meant to be worn with full coverage. Regardless of how I painted, it was definitely done at 3. This was the recording session where I had a bit of trouble getting good sun, but we got a little bit here. There's a little tip wear in my thumb, but please ignore that. The holo glitter is interesting here in that it looks as if it's pastel. I think that's just a result of how much shimmer is in here and how it changes the look of it. You can see hints of that magenta base at the edges of my nails, but I especially see it on my pinky. And for the most part, I think this shimmer shows as an orange, but there is a pink shift here as well. Because otherwise I cannot explain to you why this polish doesn't just look magenta, and the polish very much reads as pink to me. In the sun end shade shot, the contrast of the light isn't as spectacular as I would like it to be, but we're working with what we have. I do still think you can see the holo changing, and in the shadier areas, I think the strawberry color is very strong, and the slightly magenta base can still be seen at the edges of my nails. In the sunnier areas, the orange shimmer is more apparent, and I think the polish looks more of a reddish coral color. I debated with myself whether I was seeing a gold shift in this shimmer, but I really don't think that's occurring. I forgot to mention earlier that there is a fair amount of glitter in here, and so this polish will be harder to remove. For the artificial light shot, I was surprised how much of the magenta base I could see when I was pointed toward the window on the right. And as I swing around to the left, you can see that shimmer wanting to move from orange over to gold, but I think it never really gets there. I will concede that it becomes an apricot color. I'm realizing that when it comes to pink, I seem to like corals more than anything else. Any combination of pink and orange seems to be the pink I want. Does my hand look like it's composed of 5 little curly boiled shrimp? Yeah, but I'm going to wear it anyway. I do have Poems for a Harvest Moon also on my wish list from Mooncat, so this has not ended necessarily. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe because I am definitely adept at troubleshooting audio problems. Only professionalism here. Please enjoy a clip of my squirrels being very possessive of the peanut pile. And then walk back and forth from the microwave.